Aloha, everyone. My name is Zecharia Lessin, and I'm here with my husband, Dr. Sasha, Alex Lessin, and we bring you Civil War II, which is between the Enlilite and Enkiite Anunnaki lineages within the clan of Anu, the king of Nibiru. And we are Zecharia students. I'm Zecharia Lessin. I am CEO of Aquarium Media, and Sasha Alex Lessin, PhD in anthropology, UCLA, is here, and he's going to begin this class.
Let me just say, first of all, that we're not Zecharia students, we're Zecharia Sitchin students.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second here.
So let me give you some background first to this second Civil War. And like so many backgrounds, this starts with some woman trouble, so to speak. The actual commander of the Anunnaki, the people from Nibiru who came to Earth to mine gold, starts with a broken-hearted lover. That is, Enlil, otherwise known as Yahweh, got jilted by his ex-lover, his ex-girlfriend, Nimma. And so while she was away with a new guy, he was looking at her assistant, a woman named Sud, who is a virgin, and he raped her. And this, of course, enraged everybody, and they exiled him to Africa. This was a crime that was just absolutely abhorrent to them. And they had their pilot, Abgal, or he's wearing the helmet like the pilots often wear. They said, Abgal, take disgraced commander down to Africa and put him someplace where he can take care of himself. But he can't be, he isn't fit for civilized company anymore. Well, Abgal takes him down, but he shows him something while he's down there in Africa, probably by Lake Victoria. He said, this is where Enki, your rival, hid these nukes that he got from old guy Olalu, who came to Earth before him. And they're in this cave. And I'm shifting allegiance to you because you really are the commander, even though they banished you. I'm going to shift allegiance to you. And away from Enki. I'm not going to work for Enki anymore. And you can take these nukes and you can force your way back in and be commander again. And Enlil listens to that, and he said, well, thanks. I'm not sure I'm going to reveal that I know this yet, but it's good to know you're on my side, and we'll just keep this a secret between us. And so he was well hidden in a cave. And he decides, I'm not going to, you and I, Abgal, are not going to say anyone that I know, but I know where they are. And thanks to you, I now know the codes to activate them. Well, the woman that he raped, Sud was her name, she became pregnant. And she was, as her pregnancy grew, the people wanted their commander back. Some of them wanted him back, and they said, listen, why don't you just drop the rape charge and marry him? And she says, and so she got more and more pregnant. She said, I'll do it if he promises to make me his official wife and be monogamous with me. And everybody was happy with that solution. She got this title, Ninlil. She wasn't Sud anymore, and he came back in command. Her name is now Ninlil. The next thing that happened is the head prince in the Enkiage, in the Enki's lineage, a fellow named Marduk, married a hybrid, one of the part Homo erectus, part Homo sapiens sapiens, that is Anunnaki women named Sarpanit. and he decided he was going to ally with the human population, which they had created by this hybridization. And he was going to win back. First, he was going to win Earth, and then he was going to win back Nibiru, because he had actually, by treaty, was supposed to be the next king. But the guy who became king, Anu, deposed him and said, "No way, I'm going to be king, not you, Marduk. You just stay on Earth with your dad and Enki." But so Marduk is trying to build a joint society with the Anunnaki, these big guys from Nibiru, and the population that grew out of the advanced Homo sapiens, Homo erectus hybrids known as the Adapites. And so he's building this launch tower so he can come back and take Nibiru. And Enlil, who's now been restored as commander, says, "No way." And he sends his son, Ninurta, to bomb this tower. And that's the so-called Tower of Babel. Babel is Babylon. And he says, "We got to watch out for these humans, these hybrids, because there's already thousands of them. There's only about 900 of us, and they multiply like rats. And let's make sure that they can't get together and Marduk can't organize them. Let's make sure that they speak different languages and have different scripts. I'm the only one that should be controlling the traffic with Nibiru." So Ninurta bombs the Tower of Babel. He babbled the banters, so to speak. Well, Marduk and his son that he has with Sarpanit start marshaling their resources. And they've got control of Egypt. They've got control of, through Nabu's work, of Canaan. That's where Israel is nowadays. And they're starting to close in on Iraq, which is where is now being called Sumer, where Enlil, the commander, has his fief. And so Marduk and Nabu are closing in from two different directions. What they really want to get is the space facilities in the Sinai, which is where, after Noah's flood, they built a new spaceport. And the spaceport is in the territory. Egypt is where the main controls are, and there's other controls at Mount Moriah, which later becomes Jerusalem. And this is really in territory that Marduk and his father Enki felt was their territory, and they never intended really to surrender that to Enlil and his Enlilites. So they're closing in from two different sides. From the Canaan side, Nabu's got his people. He lives in Basifra, and Marduk has got all the African and Egyptian troops, and they're closing in on the spaceport. They want to be able to control the space station and be able to, from there, invade Nibiru and restore Marduk to the crown that he feels is his by the treaty that was signed by Anu's predecessor. So Enlil sends his spy, Abraham, to go check out and see, is it really true that the cities of Canaan have gone over to Nabu? And so they do check it out, and they said, yeah. Matter of fact, the emissaries that you sent, Ninurta, they went to Lot's house in Sodom, and the crowds almost killed them. And so they've definitely gone over to the Enkiites and to Nibiru, and that's what happened. So Abraham rats on them. And so Enlil comes to his dad, Anu, on Nibiru, and he said, we got to get rid of him. And you know what, Dad? Let me nuke him. Otherwise, he's going to take over Earth. And not only Earth, he's going to come get you in Nibiru. Now, remember, Enki thought that he had hidden the nukes. But Enlil, from his banishment and Abgal's telling him where the nukes were, he knew where they were, and he knows what the activation codes are. So he pleads with his dad, can I use the nukes? And Dad says, okay, you got it. We got to stop Marduk. Well, Marduk knows suspects what's some coming down. He's got some idea, and also he's a genius, and he's got his own very, very powerful weapons. So he tells his pal, the Persian king Yima, get ready for this. You need underground chambers. We think that perhaps we're going to be attacked by nuclear weapons, and you've got to be able to take your people underground. But sure enough, the Nibirians do indeed. This is the Hiroshima. They nuke Sinai, and they also nuke Sodom. They're going to stop Marduk, and so it's really terrible. They just blow what they do in Canaan is they bomb the Nergal, who's a traitor to his own dad, who's an Enkiite. Nergal bombs the south end of the Salt Sea, and the water rushes down and it wipes out Zoar, Sodom, and Gomorrah, and the Salt Sea becomes the Dead Sea. There's a close-up of it. You can see what a devastation that creates. And the cities are just flooded. People don't have a chance. Blub. And Sodom is reduced to ashes. Meanwhile, Ninurta, Enlil's older son, bombs the Sinai Peninsula, the runway, and all the way over to Mount Moriah area. There's still a big black spot in the middle of the Sinai where Ninurta dropped his nukes. What Enlil did not know is that there was a nuclear storm. The radiation cloud made by all this nuking blows north, and it blows over all of Enlil's place, all of Iraq and Kuwait, except Marduk has got fallout shelters. He tipped Yima off, and he's got his own fallout shelters, and so does Enki. Everybody's dying. All the Anunnaki see this thing coming. They get in their planes and their submarines, and they get the hell out of there. And they leave the people there, all their subjects there to die. All of them leave except for the king's daughter, Bao, who stays to help the people who are just dying from radiation poisoning, the ones that didn't get incinerated. And she dies with her Earthlings in Lagash in Iraq. Next. And so Enlil has this dream that Galzu has told him in the dream, you know what? You're going to be displaced on Earth by Marduk. He's going to become the foremost god. He's going to be the ruler of Earth. And so after Enlil's Sumer is totally wiped out, he said, yeah, I give up. I'll give Earth to Babylon. I'm going back to Nibiru. Well, Enlil and Enki get together, and Enlil tells, I had this vision from Galzu, but I didn't tell anybody about it because it was too disturbing to me. But hey, we got to stop this fighting. Our lineages are fighting, but we can be friends. After all, we're brothers. And Marduk is left in charge of the Earth. He's been there for a long time, and he's just recently being displaced now, hopefully. And he changes everything in his favor. He's saying, all these other Anunnaki you've been calling gods are just my sub-personalities. They're parts of me. And oh yeah, there's shrines to them, but they're my aspects. And he has this statue of him paraded around. And in Greece, he becomes known as Zeus. And he doesn't like women. He really takes over everything, and he pits all the humans against each other. and he stays behind the scenes and he works through intermediaries, the Illuminati.
So Dr. Lessin and I like to write books. So we're just going to show you some slides of our books that are available on Amazon.com. Some are written already, some are forthcoming, and they're on various topics. We have our Anunnaki books later on here, but these are from my series, The Dragon at the End of Time, which is going through the history of the Earth. And I will extend these books to 2020 from the Anunnaki perspective, and also including extraterrestrials. I am an experiencer. So this is Nima, the Mother of Humanity. That first book that I showed you was Nidharsog. Nima takes place while she's a young girl, and Nidharsog is when she becomes the Lady of the Mountain. So we're just going to go through these slides. You want to say anything about the books that are out there and forthcoming?
What's wonderful about the books that Janet's written is she has identified with the central archetype of Nimma. And so she actually gets into Nimma's head, or like she's an aspect of Nimma in modern times. And she's able to feel things through, to go beyond just the facts to the deep psychological understanding of what it is to be a woman in this patrilineal society. Nimma is the founder of partnership consciousness.
So we will be continuing this series. We'll do another one next week. And we thank you for joining us. So have a nice aloha. Have a nice day and aloha.
Meke aloha.
Okay, aloha.